Hi, I'm Michael McBride, General Partner at GV, and today I'm talking to Nicolas Sharp, CEO and co-founder of Attio. Thanks for taking the time to talk, and congrats on the new round of funding, and welcome to the GV portfolio.
Thank you, Michael.
To kick us off, Nick, it's an exciting time. You've defined the AI-native CRM platform. You're disrupting one of the largest enterprise software markets, and you're experiencing breakout growth all at the same time. Can you give us a quick overview of what exactly you're building and the vision for Attio?
We are building the CRM for the next generation of companies. And essentially, what that means is a CRM that is AI native, that understands every customer, every interaction you have with that customer, removes manual data entry, and importantly, gives go-to-market builders the power to build and shape their revenue systems like never before. So no more manual data entry and infinite power and flexibility.
You're a firm believer in AI technology, and importantly, I know that you believe the vision for AI can't be achieved when it's bolted onto legacy solutions. Instead, I've heard you argue that it's a requirement to build new solutions from the ground up in the AI era, and I'm hopeful you can share a little bit of why that's the only way the next generation of category leaders can be built.
It really goes sort of all the way down to the data structure, where for AI to have the context it needs to really provide the value that it can, it needs much more context than legacy solutions are able to provide. So the resolution of the data that's stored, the quantity of data that's stored, needs to be orders of magnitude greater. Starting all the way at the data layer, you've got to re-architect everything from scratch. And then as you work your way up to the UI layer, a lot of what's been built previously is just completely redundant now. The CRMs were historically a system for humans to transcribe things that happen in the real world, to sort of be the parsers and manually enter that data. It doesn't make sense anymore. And so, all the way from the data stack right up to the UI, everything that came before has sort of been invalidated by LLMs.
As the market went from on-prem to cloud, that was a big shift. As
Yeah.
it is now going from cloud to AI, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what an AI native CRM really is and what that
Mhm.
means specifically from Attio's perspective.
So for us, AI native CRM is really three things. The first is the ability to truly know your customers completely, to have a complete full picture. The second is the ability to take action really, really quickly. So the automation aspect, which is something we really focus on. And the third is to be able to build a system that is actually perfectly molded to your business. So you're not trying to change your internal processes to match software. The software is infinitely flexible to the way that you want to work. And I think a lot of people focus on those first two parts, but the last part to us is actually is really important, especially as businesses scale. And that's why we put so much effort into our data model, um, and making sure that Attio is a true platform um, for the next generation of companies to build and scale on. AI has given us this extraordinary ability to make software that is much, much more malleable than ever before. And code generation and configuration are now, we have an additional, probably, I was going to say one layer of abstraction. We have another two layers of abstraction on top of them. And that means that the power of software has kind of is way beyond our wildest dreams. And I think we're really in this era of building platforms that are orders of magnitude more powerful than what came before.
Attio is disrupting a massive market. And this market was last disrupted 25 years ago, back in 1999, when cloud disrupted on-prem software. Now AI is the change agent. What are the requirements to win in a market that's currently dominated by ultra large legacy incumbents?
We're pretty convinced that to win the category, you have to be able to 10x or 100x the user experience for the end user, but you also have to have the depth, the infrastructure, the data model, the automation platform, and quite frankly the ability to run custom code, whether that's your customers who want to extend and modify the system, or third party integrators, etc.
As we've been going through this AI disruption, there's been a lot of discussion about the excitement of how organizations might change. Teams might get bigger, teams might get smaller, the roles may change. What's your view on the nature of the sales relationship with customers and the role that humans play in that interaction as there's more and more AI tooling to support them?
Yeah, this is interesting because we have to think about this, I guess, twice. Once, once when we think about the tool that we're building, and then a second time when we think about the way that we want to interact with our own customers. And actually, what we're finding is that the tooling is so good now that a lot of the really tedious work that would have taken up a huge amount of a customer facing employee's time is being reduced. And it actually allows you to spend much more time with the customer, focusing on the important things, which is building a relationship, getting implementation right, making sure that the tool is really that they're activated onto the tool, all those sorts of things. So I think what we really think about now is how can the primary focus of our customer facing team is to help our customers. And it's not to go and sort of gather information. It's not to fill in things for reporting and all those sorts of things. That will happen automatically. It's about helping our customers. And I think that allows us to spend more time. It allows them to spend more time with the customers, more time understanding their problems, more time understanding the tool, more time solutioning, etc. And I think that's only going to accelerate and ultimately increase.
You raised, I think, a good point. Over the course of my career, I've seen that trust element between the
Yeah,
customer and the vendor so important in that long term partnership. And as you build new capabilities, there's a need and an opportunity to build trust with your customers.
yeah,
How
yeah.
do you take customers on that journey to trust the new tooling and trust AI being a significant part of their workflow?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that need to be done here. One is that we're all on this kind of journey to increased automation together. And one way that we like to think about it is kind of giving the customer a dial, a control on automation, and allowing them to sort of decide ultimately how much decision making and autonomy they want to give to Attio. And so a really good example of this is, we run tens of millions of automations for our customers. And there are parts of that which are really deterministic because the customer just wants full control. When this happens, 100% of the time, I want this to happen. And there are other areas where people need and want more autonomy. They want more agentic behavior. And what we've tried to do is sort of blend these two systems together. So you can come in and out of deterministic and undeterministic workflows, and actually, mix them together. So I want a customer triage to work like this. If the customer is in this geography, always send it to this rep. But give the system some agency, some freedom to go and do other parts of qualification. Make a judgment call on, let's say, the category or whether the company hits a looser definition of an ICP.
Nick, Attio talks a lot about builders, and the builders see the
Yeah,
vision, but they often encounter, I think, concern that there's risk in changing. So if you're migrating from a legacy platform onto a modern AI platform like Attio, that feels risky.
yeah,
Can you share a little bit about what that migration looks like?
yeah. So the first thing to say actually is that counterintuitively, a migration to Attio leaves you with much better data. So rather than migration being this kind of like lossy process where things don't quite map across properly, you actually end up with a much cleaner and richer data set because the system is ingesting in so much more than just the data you're migrating. And so it's always nice when we migrate customers and they're like, "Oh wow, the data got better," which is really really cool. The other thing is that we have built Attio to be very very fast to adopt. It's completely self-serve. Nothing is paywalled. You can go and start a trial today. And this allows people to kind of experiment simultaneous, alongside their existing solution. And what we find is that that kind of, the sort of the benefit you can see in a couple of weeks is enough, is enough to easily convince people that migration makes sense. And so, we'll continue to help people do that. We have a fantastic team waiting for to help out on this stuff as well. And so, something that we're just increasingly seeing.
You mentioned ARR and paying
Yeah,
customers. Those are real metrics for real companies. Are you seeing customers already standardize end to end across their sales organization on Attio as the next gen AI CRM platform?
very much so. Yeah, absolutely. And that's and that is both the sort of the blessing and the curse of CRM. Uh, it has to be adopted by the whole company, and so you have a sort of a bigger hill to climb getting the tool into a company. But once it's in, it's what it's what the revenue org builds around.
So Nick, I know you love talking about your customers and your product. I'd love to shift gears, talk a little bit about Attio. You're
Yeah.
celebrating an exciting milestone. You just raised $52 million in your Series B. I'm curious what this next round of funding enables for the Attio team and the milestones you have ahead.
The primary thing we want to do is use this funding to continue building a world-class product, and to continue delivering more and more value to our customers. We will be continuing to beat the drum about what's possible, and why there's a much better way to do CRM now than there was sort of 25 years ago.